Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Viking.TV. My name's Neil, standing in for Joost this evening, and I'm based in Viking's London office, where I've worked for the past 13 years. Now, I'm not on camera this evening, however, it is definitely me. Now, tonight, I'd like to give you some highlights of our world voyages, where you can unpack once, relax, and let the world come to you. And Viking's World Voyages are once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to see the world through a wider lens. And these journeys circumnavigate the globe, introducing you to one fascinating culture after another and delivering you to the world's most breathtaking corners of the world. Now, tonight's presentation purely covers some of the highlights of our world voyages with some optional tours that are available. However, our world voyages represent outstanding value for money with so many inclusions you wouldn't find with many other companies. From included daily excursions to onboard gratuities, not forgetting our complimentary visa service and the Silver Spirits drinks package, these are just a few of the items included in these unique voyages. Now, please log on to Viking.com for full information. Now, after the presentation, my colleague Leah, who is based in our Basel office, will be on hand to answer any questions you have. So throughout the presentation, please keep them coming in and we'll answer as many as possible. So sit back, relax, and let's head around the world. Let's take a look at our upcoming itineraries. Now, we'll have two sailings of the 2023 to 2024 Viking World Cruise at the end of this year. And the first will be on the Viking Sky on December the 20th, 2023, and the second on the Viking Neptune on December the 23rd, 2023. Now, our 2023-2024 Viking World Cruise brings you to 28 countries in 138 days, with 57 included guided tours. And this voyage embarks in Fort Lauderdale and concludes in London. Now, you can explore the world's majestic cities and immerse yourself in local cultures during overnight stays in 11 ports. You'll discover the idyllic isles and the faraway lands of the South Pacific and the colonial treasures of Asia. From the Arabian Peninsula to the Red Sea, you'll witness several millennia of history and revel in the romance of Paris and the royal history of London, England's iconic capital. But let's watch a short video that will bring this remarkable itinerary to life.
Welcome to a voyage that is simply beyond compare. An unprecedented exploration of our beautiful world. 6 fascinating continents. 138 intriguing days. And dozens of the world's preeminent cities with plentiful overnight stays. As you sail on board the remarkable Viking Neptune. It's an epic adventure to the far corners of the globe. Your journey begins in welcoming Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Then it's off across the Gulf of Mexico to the sunny Caribbean. And the Isle of Cozumel, where you can explore the world's second largest coral reef system. But the Caribbean is just the beginning. Intriguing Cartagena, Colombia comes next, while in tropical Central America, an ancient culture welcomes you to Panama, where you'll also cross from the Arabian Sea to the Pacific Ocean through the Panama Canal, an immense engineering marvel. On Costa Rica's Pacific side, near the sleepy fishing village of Punta Arenas, a dense rainforest and steaming caldera await the curious. While León, Nicaragua, founded by the Spanish in 1524, greets you with abundant traditional architecture. Then it's up North America's Pacific coast to the captivating landscapes of Mexico's Cabo San Lucas. Followed by a memorable collection of experiences in cosmopolitan Los Angeles. And in Santa Barbara, Franciscan history and miles of rugged beauty. As California disappears beyond the horizon, set your sights on beautiful Hawaii and its powdery sand beaches. The beguiling South Pacific mesmerizes even the most seasoned travelers. Bora Bora, Moorea, and Tahiti. Their verdant peaks and turquoise lagoons, followed by New Zealand's subtropical Bay of Islands. The entire country will delight your senses with spectacular natural wonders, a fascinating indigenous culture, and 2 nights to take in enchanting Auckland. You'll set off across the Tasman Sea, bound for Tasmania, Melbourne, and beautiful Sydney, where you'll enjoy an overnight stay. Encounter one of the planet's most ancient cultures, and then explore the expansive, breathtaking Great Barrier Reef. Exotic experiences await in Southeast Asia. On the island of Komodo, you'll come face to face with the largest lizard on Earth. Bali is home to a collection of centuries-old art and culture, followed by a kaleidoscope of tastes and sights in Vietnam, Singapore and Thailand, along with Yangon in Myanmar, and its shimmering Shwedagon Pagoda complex. Southeast of the Indian subcontinent lies the island of Sri Lanka, whose capital Colombo welcomes you. And high above lie the beautiful hillside stations with their terraced tea plantations. Portuguese and Indian cultures converge in Goa, India. Bustling Mumbai, the former Bombay, is a traveller's dream. Take in fascinating museums and historic monuments, or consider visiting Agra's white marble wonder, the majestic Taj Mahal. Like tales from the Arabian Nights, the fortresses and souks of Salalah evoke the exotic. Awe-inspiring landmarks are yours in Jordan's stunning Red City of Aqaba and Egypt's Luxor Temple complex. You'll also transit the world's other impressive man-made waterway, the Suez Canal, before exploring the timeless wonders of Haifa in Israel. Europe beckons with more storied destinations, including the fabled Greek island of Rhodes, Turkey's ancient treasure Ephesus, and intriguing Istanbul, a city bridging Europe and Asia. In Athens, witness the birthplace of Greek art, architecture, and thought. On Sicily, ageless Messina will delight your imagination, while Naples, Italy, leads to legendary Pompeii. Explore spectacular Rome, the eternal city, before setting off for opulent Monte Carlo. The passionate spirit of the Iberian Peninsula is expressed through its music, tapas, and wines. Enjoy the legacy of Spain's native son, Antoni Gaudí, in Barcelona, and the sheer majesty of Cartagena's historic treasures. Rounding Gibraltar and its imposing rock cliff, you'll head to Lisbon for its 18th century architecture and entrancing fado performances. From the seaside port of Le Havre in France, you're off to Paris, the enchanting city of light, followed by a crossing of the legendary English Channel for Dover in England to admire its fabled white cliffs. On the final segment of this extraordinary voyage, you'll sail past Southampton, up the Thames River and through the Barrier, then on to maritime Greenwich. It's as close to the heart of London as we can bring you by ship. There is perhaps no better place to celebrate the conclusion of this epic journey, the Viking World Cruise.
I do hope that video gave you a brief insight into what to expect on one of our world voyages. Now, we also have 2 sailings of our 2024 Viking World Journeys itinerary, which starts in Los Angeles and ends in London. Now, this voyage departs on the Viking Sky on January the 6th, 2024, and on the Viking Neptune on January the 9th, 2024. So join us for a grand voyage of discovery as you cruise from Los Angeles to England's majestic capital in 121 days. You'll explore the picturesque isles of French Polynesia and cross the South Pacific to New Zealand and Australia. Immerse yourself in Asia's cultural treasures and sail the Arabian Sea to behold ancient antiquities of the Middle East. Overnights in 11 destinations allow you to fully experience local life in some of the world's most inspiring cities. Here's another short video for you to have a look through.
Immerse yourself in an epic adventure as Viking sets off on a grand voyage of discovery to the far corners of the globe. 23 fascinating countries, 121 intriguing days, and dozens of the world's preeminent cities, with plentiful overnight stays as you sail on board the beautiful Viking Neptune. This remarkable journey departs from cosmopolitan Los Angeles, followed by exquisite Santa Barbara with its Franciscan history and inviting rugged coastline. But California is just the beginning. You'll set off across the vast Pacific, headed for the alluring beauty of Hawaii and its powdery sand beaches. The beguiling South Pacific mesmerizes even the most seasoned travelers. Bora Bora, Moorea, and Tahiti. Their verdant peaks and turquoise lagoons, followed by New Zealand's subtropical Bay of Islands. The entire country will delight your senses with spectacular natural wonders, a fascinating indigenous culture, and 2 nights to take in enchanting Auckland. You'll navigate the Tasman Sea to Tasmania. Then it's on to Melbourne, Australia, and Sydney for an overnight stay. Enjoy an encounter with one of the planet's most ancient cultures, and then explore the expansive, breathtaking Great Barrier Reef. Exotic experiences await in Southeast Asia. On the island of Komodo, you'll come face to face with the largest lizard on Earth. Bali is home to a collection of centuries-old art and culture, followed by a kaleidoscope of tastes and sights in Vietnam, Singapore and Thailand, along with Yangon in Myanmar, and its shimmering Shwedagon Pagoda complex. Southeast of the Indian subcontinent lies the island of Sri Lanka, whose capital Colombo welcomes you. And high above lie the beautiful hillside stations with their terraced tea plantations. Portuguese and Indian cultures converge in Goa, India. Bustling Mumbai, the former Bombay, is a traveller's dream. Take in fascinating museums and historic monuments, or consider visiting Agra's white marble wonder, the majestic Taj Mahal. Like tales from the Arabian Nights, the fortresses and souks of Salalah evoke the exotic. Awe-inspiring landmarks are yours in Jordan's stunning Red City of Aqaba and Egypt's Luxor Temple complex. You'll also transit the world's other impressive man-made waterway, the Suez Canal, before exploring the timeless wonders of Haifa in Israel. Europe beckons with more storied destinations, including the fabled Greek island of Rhodes, Turkey's ancient treasure Ephesus, an intriguing Istanbul, a city bridging Europe and Asia. In Athens, witness the birthplace of Greek art, architecture, and thought. On Sicily, ageless Messina will delight your imagination, while Naples, Italy, leads to legendary Pompeii. Explore spectacular Rome, the eternal city, before setting off for opulent Monte Carlo. The passionate spirit of the Iberian Peninsula is expressed through its music, tapas, and wines. Enjoy the legacy of Spain's native son, Antoni Gaudí, in Barcelona, and the sheer majesty of Cartagena's historic treasures. Rounding Gibraltar and its imposing rock cliff, you'll head to Lisbon for its 18th century architecture and entrancing fado performances. From the seaside port of Le Havre in France, you're off to Paris, the enchanting city of light, followed by a crossing of the legendary English Channel for Dover in England to admire its fabled white cliffs. On the final segment of this extraordinary voyage, you'll sail past Southampton, up the Thames River and through the Barrier, then on to maritime Greenwich. It's as close to the heart of London as we can bring you by ship, and an ideal place to celebrate the conclusion of your Viking World Journeys adventure.
Let us talk about next year's new itineraries. Explore 37 countries around the world in 180 days on our 2024 to 2025 Viking World Voyage 1. Now, this journey includes 83 guided tours, starting in Fort Lauderdale and concluding in New York. Now, on our Viking World Voyage 1, you'll embark on the Viking Sky in Fort Lauderdale and traverse the globe on an unforgettable voyage across vast oceans to destinations on 5 continents. You'll witness ancient wonders from the Mediterranean to the Red Sea. You'll explore the British Isles and the rugged beauty of the far north and immerse yourself in intriguing cities during overnight stays in Sydney, Singapore, London, and many more. And you'll experience the world like never before. Our 2025 Viking World Voyage 2 brings you to 29 countries around the world in 163 days, with 78 included guided tours. And on the Viking World Voyage 2, you'll join Viking Sky as she departs on a grand voyage of discovery. From Los Angeles, a South Pacific sojourn showcases French Polynesia, New Zealand and Australia. Traverse Asia from Indonesia to India and beyond. You'll discover Istanbul at the crossroads of 2 continents and explore historically rich locations in Italy and Spain. Spanning dozens of ports in 29 countries, the Viking World Voyage 2 offers an enriching cultural experience. Now, there's a lot to take in there, but please refer to Viking.com where you'll find the full itinerary details. So now let's explore what awaits you in some of our favourite ports. Let's start off in Egypt, and Luxor is set on the east banks of the Nile River and once served as the capital of Egypt's new kingdom. Today, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site lined with beautiful colonial hotels and some of the world's most ancient and significant ruins. The sprawling temples of Luxor and Karnak on the east bank are linked by the ancient avenue of the Sphinxes. On the west bank, in the Valley of the Kings, lies the tombs of Egypt's great pharaohs. Now, one of our optional excursions is to Karnak Temple and the Valley of the Kings, and you'll travel to the site of ancient Thebes to see the Temple of Karnak and the amazing Valley of the Kings tombs. Dating back to around 2050 BC, it was the largest and most important sanctuary of ancient Egypt. Today, it's strewn with temples, pylons, obelisks, and great hypostyle hall with 16 rows of 134 columns. After lunch, journey to the Nile's west bank and the Valley of the Kings, home to the tomb of 63 Egyptian pharaohs. Among the ones that you'll see is that of Tutankhamun, the most famous archaeological discovery of the last century. Jeddah is Saudi Arabia's second largest city, and Jeddah has played a dual role throughout its history. Located on the eastern shores of the Red Sea, it was a major port for Indian Ocean trade routes starting in the 7th century. It also became a historically important gateway for Muslim pilgrims arriving by sea on their journey to the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, a role that continues to this day. And one of our optional excursions is the desert safari at sunset. and you'll experience the beauty of the desert and its inhabitants' hospitality during an evening visit to a nomadic camp. Upon your arrival at a Bedouin-style camp, you'll meet your welcoming hosts, learn the definition of true Arabic hospitality. You'll enjoy a cup of tea or coffee along with some local delicacies, then set out to participate in a range of desert activities provided by your hosts. You'll also have an opportunity to gain insight into the lives and traditions of your hosts, and then enjoy watching the sun slip below the horizon and sit for a mouth-watering meal of traditional dishes under a canopy of stars. Mumbai, India is spread over 7 islands and is a major cultural capital. It's home to some of India's most beloved landmarks, perhaps none as glamorous as the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. Overlooking the Arabian Sea, it's hosted celebrities and presidents. Adjacent, the impressive Gateway of India was built to salute the arrival of King George V and Queen Mary in 1911. And Mumbai also hosted the headquarters of Mahatma Gandhi. Again, on an optional excursion or Mumbai walk and drive, you'll explore Mumbai's Fort District by foot and by coach and experience 2 of the city's bustling markets. You'll drive with your guide to the city's heritage precinct, where numerous historic buildings stand in the area once enclosed by British fortress walls. You'll ride past the General Post Office, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus or Victoria Station, the Municipal Corporation Building. Then you'll continue your drive past St Saviour's College, the Western Railway headquarters, and Bombay Gymkhana. You'll pause at the Cathedral Church of St Thomas to explore its stunning interior, then continue on foot to view the spectacular exteriors of the Flora Fountain, Bombay University, High Court buildings, David Sassoon Library, the Army and Navy buildings, Jahangir Art Gallery, and the Prince of Wales Museum. Let's move to another corner of the globe and French Polynesia. And Tahiti is an island paradise that lays claim to the invention of surfing. Its mile upon mile of sandy beaches, soothing waters, and warm sun are ideal for leisure-seeking visitors. Point Venus on the east coast boasts dark sands and moderate waves, and the waters of Maui Beach, lined with palms, offer shallow, quiet surf for wading and snorkeling among stunning coral reefs. Now, one of our optional excursions is the picturesque Papinu Valley, and you'll discover the unspoilt interior of Tahiti as you board a 4x4 vehicle for this scenic tour. Departing toward the east coast, you'll pass by the island coastal road and through bustling Papiti to the Papinu Valley. Flanked by majestic mountains, the valley was formed by the Papanu River, which flows north through the centre of Tahiti Nui, or Large Island, into the Pacific Ocean. And here you'll discover cascading waterfalls, lush tropical vegetation, exotic flowers, and breathtaking views. And guests are encouraged to wear a swimsuit under their clothing and bring along a towel, and if time permits, it may be possible to take a dip in the river. Now, somewhere definitely on my wish list is New Zealand, and this voyage will take you to the Milford Sound, where you'll enjoy some scenic sailing. Now, the Milford Sound is the most breathtaking waterway of New Zealand's Fiordland National Park, and Milford Sound stretches for miles from the Tasman Sea into a pristine wonderland. Rudyard Kipling called it the 8th wonder of the world. Alpine peaks point to the heavens, and monolithic granite walls soar as high as 4,000 feet, while waterfalls as tall as skyscrapers plunge into fjord waters. The centrepiece of the park is Mitre Peak, one of the world's most recognisable summits, and on a clear day, its distinctively shaped pinnacle is visible, rising some 5,500 feet from the water. Auckland is the culture capital of New Zealand's North Island, and Auckland is known as the City of Sails for its residents' love of boating. Now, this seafaring city has hosted 3 America's Cup challenges, and its marinas are brimming with world-class yachts. In tree-lined Albert Park, flower beds and towering palms point the way to a cast-iron central fountain. The neoclassical Auckland War Memorial Museum chronicles the nation's history within its edifice-like walls, and the observation deck of the Sky Tower offers breathtaking bird's-eye views of Auckland's cityscapes. Now, one of our optional excursions is the Kiwi countryside. And here in Auckland, we have a privileged access excursion. Now, privileged access experiences are not open to the general public, and Viking has arranged exclusive entry for our guests to discover local cultural treasures. Now, Kiwi countryside is a bird and nature lover's dream. You'll explore the black sands of Muriwai Beach and the bright red flowers of the Potukawa tree. That is New Zealand's own Christmas tree. Then you'll tour a family-run farm and witness a sheep shearing demonstration. Take a stroll through the property, through their fragrant gardens, and see your host's fine hard-made artwork for sale. Sydney is the capital of Australia's New South Wales and is home to the world's largest natural harbour. Now, you might choose to stay in the city or explore the natural wonders of the nearby Blue Mountains. And one of our optional excursions here is behind the scenes at the Sydney Opera House. And I recommend a visit to the Sydney Opera House. This is one of the most recognised buildings and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And here you can step backstage with a certified Opera House guide and learn some secrets of this remarkable building. Any of you music, drama, dance, opera and architecture lovers will not want to miss this excursion. Staying in Australia, we head to Brisbane, and Brisbane is the capital of Queensland. It's situated on the Brisbane River and spread over hills rising from Moreton Bay. Now, Brisbane itself is known for its culinary scene and its many art galleries. And again, an optional excursion we offer is the Brisbane and Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary. Now, we have a special nature world tour that will allow you to meet koalas and other Australian wildlife up close. You'll meet the dedicated keepers and learn about the wildlife research that takes place here. You'll also hand feed animals in the Kangaroo Reserve, which is home to around 150 free-ranging kangaroos and wallabies. We're in Southeast Asia and Semarang, Indonesia. The bustling port of Semarang was founded by the Dutch, and hints of the island's colonial past dot the cityscape. Outside the city, Borobudur, the largest Buddhist monument in the world, strikes a dramatic pose against a backdrop of 4 volcanoes. A popular place of pilgrimage and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the massive pyramidal temple towers to a great height. The devout walk up a clockwise path to the pinnacle, passing 2,672 reliefs and 504 Buddhist statues along the way. Our optional excursion to the Borobudur temple is where you'll travel overland through the Garden of Java to reach 9th century Borobudur, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The temple is remarkable not just for its beauty, but for the symbolism of its design. Borobudur mimics the shape of a lotus, and every aspect of it represents Buddhist views of the cosmos. There are 6 stacked square platforms topped by 3 circular ones, a central dome, and 4 stairways that lead to the top. Practically every square inch is covered with sculptural reliefs, and there are 504 Buddha statues, making it a popular pilgrimage site. Staying in Indonesia, we're now in Komodo, and Komodo is the stunning home of magnificent wildlife, including its namesake, the Komodo dragon. The island also has one of only 7 pink beaches in the world, and the beach derives its colour from microscopic animals called foraminifera, which deposit a red pigment on the undersea coral. Now, when the coral particles mix with white sand, they produce a lovely reddish-pink colour on the beach. Now, in our included excursion in Komodo, we go to the Komodo National Park. And in Indonesia, reptile lovers will encounter the rare and fearsome Komodo dragon in its natural habitat during a trek on Komodo Island. Now, Komodo dragons are relatives of the dinosaur, and they're the world's largest reptiles, able to reach lengths of over 10 feet and typically weighing around 150 pounds. You'll visit Komodo National Park, which encompasses 26 islands and is home to around 5,700 of these legendary creatures that exist nowhere else on Earth. Travelling on, we are now on the spiritual island of Bali, and here you can experience colourful markets and the rich cultures of arts, crafts and traditional dance. And one of our optional excursions is a twilight dinner and traditional dance experience. And we have an evening tour that will give you a taste of local life. Our local life tours provide fascinating insights that reveal the rhythms of daily living. And tonight you'll dine al fresco and enjoy a spectacular ritual Kechat dance show at Bally's Bird Park. Now, the park plays a key role in protecting and conserving 250 endangered species from Indonesia, South America, Africa, and Australia. And as you eat dinner, you'll witness a fascinating performance of ritual dance that recounts an epic tale from the Hindu Ramayana. Now, with so many countries and destinations to visit, sometimes you might just want to sit back and relax. And our World Voyages include sea days, and these provide you with an opportunity to explore your ship's onboard amenities. So there's a short video, lasts around a minute, and it will give you an overview of the Viking Ocean experience.
Viking, the world's newest ocean cruise line, is yet again a world's best. Explore the most intriguing destinations on our award-winning small ships. Designed as upscale hotels, our elegant ships deliver a superb, inclusive experience. With enriching shore excursions, spa access, alternative dining, all-veranda staterooms, Wi-Fi, and much more. Experience what Berlitz called the best value in cruising today. Architectural Digest heralded Viking as one of the best new luxury cruises. And we're very proud to have been named a world's best 5 years in a row by Travel and Leisure readers. Viking has reinvented ocean cruising.
Now, after several days of sightseeing on shore, you might choose to relax with a treatment at the Nordic Spa. Or you might want to experience the hot, cold, light and dark Nordic bathing ritual. And the great thing about our spa is it's completely free of charge to enter. And you've got hydrotherapy pools, you've got heated beds, you've got the snow grotto, you've got the sauna, and of course you've got the steam room as well. A great place to relax after lots of days sightseeing. Now we call on Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, formerly known as Saigon. And here you can witness fishing villages and floating markets on the Mekong River. The city is also the access point to the Khmer Temple of Angkor Wat and Ta Prohm Temple in Siem Reap, Cambodia. And one of our optional excursions takes you to Saigon River's Artist Village. And I'd like to highlight a privileged access and work and world tour. Now, these excursions, you'll get a glimpse of the world at work, including local industries and arts and crafts, and you'll see and understand local people anew. Now, you can visit an artist village on the Saigon River where craftspeople from different regions have homes and galleries. And these skilled artists work in a variety of media, using wood to pottery to oil to lacquer. And the local artist will walk you through many other studios featuring styles of art inspired by the artist's region of origin. You'll also learn about Vietnam's national dress during a tour of the Yo Yai Museum. Singapore is the world's only island city-state. It's a 63-island archipelago, and Singapore is home to diverse traditions and cuisines. It's also one of Asia's most cosmopolitan cities. Now, our optional excursion is the Singapore Odyssey. And on Singapore Odyssey, you'll discover Singapore's contrasting cultures and fascinating history during a tour of its eclectic neighbourhoods. Highlights will include the Chinatown Heritage Centre, Little India, Sultan Mosque, and the world-famous Raffles Hotel. A delicious 8-course lunch at a local seafood restaurant is also included. Haifa, Israel is one of Israel's most important and beautiful seaside cities. Here you'll find Mount Carmel, where it's said that the prophet Elijah set fire to a sacrifice and ended a drought. On the mountain slope overlooking the city, you'll enjoy commanding views of the magnificent terraced hanging gardens of Haifa, centre of the Baha'i faith. Our optional excursion is scenic Haifa and the Amphora Winery, and you'll enjoy sweeping views of Haifa from atop Mount Carmel and sample fine Israeli wine at a renowned winery. The Amphora winery cultivated the land for winemaking and pioneered the Israeli wine industry and eco-friendly production methods. You'll tour the exquisite Baha'i Gardens or Hanging Gardens of Haifa, and this holy city is recognized by UNESCO and consists of 18 stunning terraced and geometric-shaped flower gardens. Istanbul, Turkey. We'll now travel to the city that lies in both Europe and Asia. Istanbul, where east meets west. Now, this city is located on the Bosphorus Strait. Its old quarter skyline is full of domes and minarets. And one of our optional excursions is a private visit to Hagia Sophia by night. Now, you may choose to visit the magnificent Hagia Sophia and view its priceless treasures during a private, privileged access visit free of crowds. Hagia Sophia was originally built as a cathedral and then later converted to a mosque. Today, it's a splendid museum containing some of the world's most beautiful mosaics and frescoes, plus runic inscriptions left by Vikings in the 10th century. Athens, Greece, and welcome to Athens. Athens has been called the birthplace of democracy. Its legacy looms large from atop Acropolis Hill, the pinnacle of ancient Greece. And this open-air museum is an astonishing repository of ancient structures. One of our optional excursions is the new Acropolis Museum in Plaka district, and you'll gain an in-depth view of Athens from the shores of Piraeus to the new Acropolis Museum, with a local guide accompanying you. At Athens Olympic Stadium, a 19th century reconstruction built on Roman foundations, imagine the games being played here in 1896. You'll pass some of the city's most important modern sites, including Syntagma, Constitution Square, and the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. An optional excursion you might want to take is the new Acropolis Museum in Plaka district. You'll continue your tour to the new Acropolis Museum, where more than 4,000 objects from the ancient city are preserved, and where you'll see a stunning collection spanning the ages. From the second floor of the museum, you'll see the Acropolis on the hilltop in the distance. You'll enjoy the village-like feel of the laid-back Plaka district as you walk along its cobblestone streets and you admire more views of the Acropolis. Welcome to Rome, the Eternal City. Rome is a city with monuments around every turn, from the ancient Forum, political hub of the Roman Empire, to the 18th century Spanish steps. On one of our optional excursions, you'll have a unique opportunity to visit the Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel after hours. You'll have the galleries all to yourself to admire pieces from Raphael, Caravaggio and Botticelli. In the Sistine Chapel, marvel at magnificent religious art, most notably Michelangelo's spectacular ceiling and the iconic Hand of God giving life to Adam. Now, anytime you're back on board your ship in the afternoon, you might partake in a daily tradition, afternoon tea in the Winter Garden, and you'll be accompanied by the classical trio or a resident pianist or guitarist. And remember, thanks to Viking inclusive value, there is no charge for afternoon tea or the menu of sandwiches, cakes and scones. Now also, your Viking resident historian will deliver fascinating iconic lectures during your voyage. Topics will vary by region to further immerse you in the history and cultures of your destinations. And your daily onboard newsletter, the Viking Daily, will give you start times and all the other information that you need. Here's a short video about our Viking Resident Historia programme.
Viking is committed to the idea of destination-driven learning, and the Resident Historian program offers many opportunities for our guests to really learn and explore and delve into the concept of the place. There's nothing like it in terms of the passion and the excitement that comes with sharing experiences. This is what I love. There are two aspects to the Resident Historian program. On the one hand, we have iconic lectures to provide a context for learning, thinking about, and anticipating the commentary from our local guides once we reach the port. and then be able to learn more from him or her on one of those excursions. We include aspects of the architecture, of the painting or sculpture or music, what it is that was so important in that chapter of history that was coming to life, perhaps for the very first time in Western civilization. But we also offer what we call round tables. These are smaller sessions that return one to a university setting with a discussion section. Guests who are keenly interested in a more minute or a specialist subject about the area that we're visiting. So that discussion section format is a little bit more intimate, breaks down some of the barriers of our large Star Theater audience, and allows us to also learn from one another. The resident historian also addresses various aspects of world history. So it's not just the ancient history, but also thinking about the people of the medieval periods and even up to the contemporary concerns. A resident historian may deal with the history of thousands of years ago, but as well the important and significant aspects of history in our lifetimes. Our resident historians are drawn from a wide variety of different facets of the field of history. All of them have either had teaching or lecturing experience and might have expertise in areas of military history, maritime history, perhaps art history or cultural history, music history, even Arctic exploration history, and they become part of a Viking faculty. What they bring to the enrichment program is of a specialist nature, but they're able to share their enthusiasm about what it is about their aspect and approach to history, why it's important, and why it's significant for our guests. The resident historian is also on board for the duration of the itinerary, not only attending the other lectures, attending and participating in different excursions up and in the ports, but also dining with our guests and around, available to field questions and to further discussions that may have been brought up from an aspect of an iconic lecture or perhaps one of those roundtable discussions. The opportunity to have that interface, that one-on-one learning with a resident historian. This is something that Viking prides itself on making very important, accessibility to the resident historians in so many different places aboard the ship. There's also plans for the resident historian to lead a group that would go in further depth, privileged access to learn about a site with the resident historian, to understand the nature of a museum, of an archaeological site, of some aspect of the contemporary culture that could be brought to life by having more time in depth spent with a knowledgeable expert. The resident historian is the guide at your side. For adult learning, there's nothing like it. History pervades a Viking ship, and we're very proud of that.
Lisbon, Portugal. Now, Lisbon has inspired explorers for centuries with its stunning setting on the Tagus River's mouth. Its labyrinth streets carry echoes of 16th century navigators who sailed on the winds of the Age of Discovery. Today's streets are lined with the legacies of wealthy builders, including the Jeronimo's Monastery, the Belém Tower, and savouring local cuisine and port wine are favourite pastimes here. On any evening, the strains of fado spill from clubs in the historic Alfama district. Again, an optional excursion in Lisbon is our classical monuments and monasteries, and you'll journey with a local guide to view the Bastion Belém Tower and the magnificent monument to the discoveries. You'll visit the Jeronimo's Monastery, a Manuelin masterpiece and UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the nearby National Coach Museum. In the hillside Alfama district, Lisbon's oldest quarter, your guide will take you on a stroll along the narrow shop-lined streets, and you'll also learn about Portugal's colourful Azeo tiles and the National Tile Museum. Welcome to Barcelona, Spain. This is the Catalonian capital of culture, where you'll stroll along Las Ramblas, taking the architectural masterpieces of Gaudi, such as Park Güell shown here, or explore the myriad side streets of the ancient Gothic quarter. On one of our optional excursions, I suggest you get to know Barcelona's father of architecture, Antoni Gaudi, on our Gaudi's Houses of Modernism tour. You'll experience this creative genius up close. You'll see Casa Vicens, a turreted private house that is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Gaze up at his unfinished masterpiece, La Sagrada Familia, whose towers are still under construction today. Or complete your tour with a visit to the Paseo de Gracia, where you'll visit the Casa Bastillo, or House of Bones. Now, if you're on the 2023 to 2024 Viking World Cruise or 2024 Viking World Journeys itineraries, your voyage will end here in London. Your ship will sail along the Thames River and pull into England's capital to explore the city's classical monuments and immerse yourself in its royal history. Other highlights here include London's West End district, which is home to several world-class theatres and high-end restaurants. I'd like to recommend an optional, very special after-hours visit of the Tower of London. The Tower of London has been the setting for many great events during its 1,000-year history as a royal palace, fortress, prison, place of execution, and jewel house. Now, nobody knows about the history of the Tower more than the yeoman warders, or more commonly known as the Beefeaters. You'll be captivated by the amazing stories of those that have guarded this fortress for centuries, passed on from one generation to generation. During your private guided tour of the Tower grounds, including the White Tower built by William the Conqueror in 1078, and following your tour, you'll witness the age-old tradition of the Ceremony of the Keys, which has been enacted every night without fail for almost 700 years by the chief yeoman warder of the Tower. For guests on the Viking World Voyage 1 and 2 itineraries, your ship will call on Dunleary, a suburb of Dublin. Now, famed as the birthplace of many of Ireland's finest writers, from James Joyce and Oscar Wilde to Samuel Beckett, Dublin and its people have long celebrated the written word. The library of Trinity College is the hallowed home of the inspiring 9th century illuminated Book of Kells, yet there is much more to explore, from the soaring St Patrick's Cathedral, the nation's spiritual touchstone, to Dublin Castle. The city is a vibrant hub of cultural gems. On an optional tour, you can visit Dublin's Guinness Storehouse and learn what goes into making a pint of Ireland's most famous export on this exclusive connoisseur experience. The dramatic story begins more than 250 years ago and ends in the Guinness Storehouse's connoisseur bar. You'll meet Arthur Guinness and find out how the drink that carries his name has travelled around the world. You'll spend some time in the advertising gallery where Guinness advertising material, both past and present, is displayed, and discover how important good technique is to pulling the perfect pint. And then you'll savour a pint of the black stuff. Heading north, we're in Bergen, Norway, and Bergen is home to the Hanseatic League's only contour or trading enclave still in existence. Now, Briggen Wharf, a row of timbered Hanseatic warehouses along a quaint quay, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and narrow wooden walkways are flanked by parallel rows of small, vibrantly painted buildings overlooking the picturesque Vagen Harbour. And our optional excursion is a snapshot of Bergen, and you'll see Bergen both up close and from a bird's eye perspective on this expansive tour. Now, with a guide, you'll pass the medieval Bergen fortress at the entrance to the harbour and the picturesque Briggen Wharf. For a wider view of the city, you'll ascend Mount Floyn via funicular railway, and from the summit you'll enjoy spectacular views of Bergen's seaside setting. A scenic drive around the Nordnes Peninsula also offers sweeping views across the harbour. Seyðisfjörður, Iceland, is considered one of Iceland's most picturesque towns, and it traces its origins to the early days of Viking settlements. Though the town is tiny, it boasts an impressive history, It hosted the world's first modern whaling station and pioneered international communications when it welcomed the first telegraph cable linking Iceland to Europe. Now, colourful wooden homes line the streets, overseen by the soaring summits of Mount Bjolfur and Strandatindur. Now, our included excursion will get you venturing out on foot during a stroll around Seyðisfjörður. The town boasts a flourishing art scene and delightful hiking trails, and the community owes its origins to foreign merchants who started trading in the fjord during the mid-19th century. Around that time, sawmills in Norway started to produce ready-made houses in kit form for export, and Seyðisfjörður businessmen who had roots in Norway started importing these splendid, excellent quality buildings. Many of them have survived to this day, giving Seyðisfjörður an early 20th century ambience. New York, New York, so good they named it twice, and we'll conclude today's presentation in New York City, where the Viking World Voyage 1 and 2 itineraries end. From the robust streets of Lower Manhattan's financial district to the intimate warrens of Greenwich Village, the city overflows with culture, cuisine, and the architectural beauty. So that concludes our presentation on Viking World Voyages, and it gives you a snapshot of what to expect when you go on one of these journeys. Now, I've highlighted some of the destinations that we visit along with some optional excursions, but please remember there is so much included in these world voyages that if you log on to Viking.com under World Journeys, it will tell you all the inclusions and all the places that you visit on each itinerary. But I'll hand you over now to my colleague Leah, who will be able to answer any questions on the itinerary itself, on the ship, or on the experience. So thank you very much for watching this evening, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.